right.
All right, so we're here with another cast for StarCastTV. I'm IRK RoyalBlue, and joining me is Strikes and Gutters, and we're going to be casting a game between Action and Piano. So here we have Action spawning as the blue Zerg in the bottom left, and we have Piano spawning as the pink Terran in the top right. And this game will be played on circuit breakers.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing these two play. Both Action and Piano, very strong former pro gamers, strong also in the amateur scene, and looking forward to see how they perform here. With ASTL back, they'll also be showcasing games there, so also looking forward to seeing how they do there.
Yeah, definitely. These are some top tier players, so it'll be fun to watch this game and see what kind of strategies they play and what's kind of current in the Korean scene.
Yeah. So far, nothing too unusual. Both of them not going for any kind of proxies or early pool aggression thus far. But excited to see where things go. But as I say that, Action is looking to do a 9 pool, so that's going to put a lot of aggression on early. But unfortunately for Action, Piano's in the cross position spawn, so this is probably the best chance Piano has of dodging a bullet here.
Yeah, this is a really aggressive play from Action, which I kind of like to see. Something that's kind of throw him off on Circuit Breaker, which is such a big map. But unfortunately, getting these cross spawns is going to help out Piano as long as his scouting is, on par. He should be able to see this coming and maybe deflect it, depending on the micro here. But we do see a scouting drone coming out from Action into that bottom right, and we see an overload going to the top left. So he's gonna know now where Piano spawned, but he won't have a lot of scouting information.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice by Action. I mean, he went for 9 pool, but he decided not to go with gas, so he didn't go for a 9 pool speed. So not what I would say is a completely all-in build. With the way Piano's played, he may not scout the Lings in time unless he end scouts, which he may do though. I think this will make for quite an interesting attack. The Lings just now migrating, having the Overlord having just gone into the other main, and I'm not sure if Piano will be able to react in time. It's going to be quite interesting. He's going to scout the hatchery just now, and the timing of the hatchery should reveal to him that this is some kind of pool first build. Yeah, and you can see him immediately pull SCVs to block his ramp.
Yeah, he pulls 5 SCVs, so he's going to be able to block this ramp with the SCVs as long as he is able to repair and maybe micro back these SCVs. He does lose 1 SCV, but actually is able to hold the ramp with very few losses, and those Marines taking 0 damage and able to repel the first Zerglings. I think it was crucial there that he scouted that hatch at the right time and saw that it was pretty late, which allowed him to pull SCVs just in time.
Yeah, and you can always tell, like, when you're watching pro gamers play, like, they essentially know exactly at what hatchery HP each kind of build will be at. So as soon as they scout the natural, they can correctly assess whether or not they were facing a 9 pool, an over pool, or 12 pool, or any other build. So immediately pulling 5 SCVs was the right call. Action, meanwhile, teching up to Lair. He is somewhat behind from this, though, because the early aggression only killed 1 SCV, and it didn't significantly delay Piano's natural command center. So looking to see what he's trying to get done here. He is building more Zerglings, so he may still opt to put on some more aggression after he's now killed the scouting SCV.
Yeah, on the other side of things, Piano has added on that second Rax, and he's building a little bit of a SimCity here at his nap, which I think will be wise considering this Zerglings being added on for Action could spell some kind of early aggression from Action to try to, again, take out some Marines and maybe force Piano back. We'll see how many links he pumps out here, but a bunker would be crucial, and there goes a bunker for Piano. So he is getting a bunker up here. I'm not sure if he's just suspecting this early link pressure, or he just plays safe because he knows he's ahead slightly due to the 9 pool and the lack of damage it actually accomplished.
Yeah, it's a good question. What his decision-making tree there is. I suspect, as you said, he knows he's ahead, and the only way to lose that advantage is from some kind of aggressive play. But with that bunker and depot placement, he is in a very good spot to deny any aggression. But it looks like Action is just going to wait with his Zerglings, and he's only revealed a few of his Zerglings, so he may be waiting to do some kind of backstab after Piano moves out.
Yeah, due to the positioning of the Zerglings, that definitely looks like it's going to be the case. He hasn't really dove in on that bunker, and I think he's missed his timing now that the medics are out, and we see more and more Marines being added to this kind of clump outside the net for Piano. It's looking more and more like there's not going to be able to be an attack from Action at this time.
One Zergling getting into the natural, just scouting around, seeing that Piano hasn't gotten any turrets up quite yet. Mutas are about to spawn, but the eBay is done, so he can definitely still get turrets in time. And now the Marine Medic Force is moving out, and I'm very curious to see if this Ling Force is going to help the Mutas engage the Marine Medic Force, or if they're just going to wait for that to push across the map and then backstab the Terran subsequently.
Yeah, here come the Mutas into the net of Piano. One turret already up, so it's able to force the Mutas back for now. But Action is investing in that +1 attack for his Mutas. So he may be trying to be aggressive with Mutas, or maybe stay on Mutas for a little while. It looks like Piano is kind of forcing Action to play defensive, or at least to fight his Marine Medic Ball, which is outside of the main. But as I say that, it looks like Action might try to dive into the main and actually get on top of this production here, which it looks like there's only one turret in the main.
I'm liking this move just because of the way the turrets are set up. The barracks are undefended. Piano, though, is deciding he doesn't care that the mutas are out there, and he's pushing across the map with a quite big Marine Medic force. I mean, he has 3 medics with that. The Lings come in for a backstab, and unfortunately, the SCVs are not in time to block it, but many of the Lings get killed by the bunker. So this is quite good for Piano. And the main Marine Medic Force is dancing with the mutas, but the backstab really didn't do any damage. So this is, again, not a good spot for Action to be in. And Action still has no third, so he's completely all in on this muta attack.
Yeah, Action with no Sunkens and no third, and he's actually very low on drones. As we can see, he's only at 18 drones, so that's quite low considering the SCV count of Piano has been kind of constantly growing throughout this game. And now, oh wow, a big engage in the middle of the map. These mutas just deciding to eat this ball, and they're able to be successful here.
I'm very surprised that that engage went so favorably for Action, and he hadn't even had his +1 done yet, so that was just very good decision-making by him, judging that the Marine Medic ball was small enough that he could just completely take it out.
Yeah, meanwhile for Piano, we see he is adding on a factory, so this should give him higher tech units to maybe deal with this mutalist flock that's accumulating. And he does have his upgrades on the way for his bio, so most likely that will help him fend off these mutalisks as the game goes on. But we see good timing here for Action where he could make some damage happen with these mutalisks.
Yeah, and with those +1 attack mutalisks out, he can really clean up on them. The turrets will get 2-shotted by mutas at this point, and he is just camping on Piano's rally point, and Piano again deciding to forego the mutas and go for Action's base. And I'm not sure that this base trade is favorable for Piano because Action is just taking SCVs out wherever he can and killing any reinforcing Marines as they spawn.
Yeah, actually has two groups of mutalisks right now. He has one group trying to desperately defend his main with very little no sunkens and just a few zerglings, and he's microing one group in the main of Piano at the same time. And that group is doing work, killing a lot of SCVs as well as forcing out a lot of turrets. But now he's got to somehow defend with this small group of 8 mutalisks. He's actually managing to pull it off right now, engaging the Terran Piano on the bridge, on the narrow bridge, and he is able to hold that attack at this time.
That was an incredible engagement on both ends. I was trying to catch it on both sides, but essentially, Action managed to completely deny that attack while simultaneously not even losing all of his mutas in the Terran main and still killing more SCVs and doing more damage. He lost a lot of mutas in the Terran's main, but at the same time, they definitely whittled down the Terran SCV count. They've essentially prevented Piano from building up any new army. So as we can see, like, Piano just has a few Marines in his bunker, and he's adding more turrets because he knows that he's completely vulnerable to mutas.
Yeah, totally. A lot of Piano's supply is in SCVs and not actual fighting units, so he is vulnerable here to these mutalisks. He's adding on a lot of turrets because he knows how vulnerable he is, and he's trying to get Wraith stat actually from his starport.
Yeah, I'm surprised by the Wraith choice, but I guess he, at this point, needs any unit that can fight against a muta. And he's not too fussed what unit that is. Action, though... oh, Piano gets a scouting SCV off into Action's main again, and he sees that Action is still on lair, just putting down a Hydra Den, so he knows this is a muta all-in. And we still see no third from Action, so this is definitely a do-or-die move. And Action's adding in Zerglings to this bunch, which I don't think are going to be particularly effective due to just how many depots Piano has put around his bunker. But we'll see, we'll see. The mutas may pull Piano's army out of position, and these raids are doing a little damage, but getting picked off, and the other Wraith is very low on health. Not quite sure what the intent there was. Again, probably just something to keep the mutas distracted, but the medics are also wandering around, one of them ending up in the main mineral line, having healed some damaged SCVs, and they're desperately needed with this Marine medic force, which is damaged from stims as well as the muta harass.
Yeah, this is so many supply depots, like you were mentioning in the net, that it is very well defended around this bunker. It's going to be hard for those lings to get on top of the bunker. But as you were saying, this Mutaball is doing work on these Marine medic, and actually, as I say that, it looks like there is a nice amount of Marine medic accumulating here from all these barracks, which Piano is adding on now. But we see a drop actually coming out now.
That is an interesting choice. I feel like it has a lot of potential because pretty much all of the defense for Action is stuck in this Mutaball. At the same time, though, sparing any amount of troops into a dropship means that the front for the Terran is in much bigger danger, especially with Action just planning on all-inning on Piano, and Action's even bringing Hydralisks across the map, and he's planning to morph them into lurkers at the Terran's base, but this dropship could really do some damage. I mean, there's 3 lurkers morphing at Action's bridge near the natural that could come back to defend, and there is a pair of Scourge hanging over his Hydralisk den, so if Piano is not attentive to this force, but Piano very cleverly unloading his Marine medic force outside of the vision of the Zerg, and those Scourge just now flying off and being completely missed by the Scourge, and Piano now completely demolishing the main for Action, taking down the Spire. Action brings back his Mutalisk flock, but this is really bad with the Defiler Mound about to go down as well, and Action is on so few drones that it's very unlikely that he'll be able to do much about this. He's going to be able to clean up all these Marine medic with this Mutalisk group, but still, he's taking so much additional damage just now. He had to rebuild his Defiler Mound. He doesn't have a Spire. And Piano has an even ever-growing Marine Medic force.
Yeah, I agree. That drop there was very risky play from Piano, but it did end up paying off, paying dividends there, taking out some key tech buildings as well as some drones for action. And also, critically, forcing those Mutalisks back and giving him kind of some breathing room now to get out onto the map and to get his barracks up, which he's now adding more and more barracks as well as getting his tech up. We see some tanks and a science vessel joining the army for Piano, and this could be crucial to fighting against these Mutalisks and Lurker combo that Action is now employing.
Yeah, and the Mutas are taking so much damage now from these +1 Marines, and the Marines also with the +1 armor are much more hardy, so not taking nearly as much damage. And I mean, this game is in great. Oh, the vessel getting picked off was a major win for Action there. I mean, Irradiate was almost done, and he does have one more available. So if he gets it on that Mutaflock, that could really put Action out of business. Piano carefully pushing up. He doesn't want to lose these tanks, and there goes the Irradiate. Nice separation by Action, but still, all of his Mutas are quite damaged. So this is a very difficult hold for him. And he still has no third base, so this is looking terrible for Action with Piano up. He's getting his 7th barracks now, and he does have Dark Swarm out, but will it be enough to prevent this giant Terran ball from just moving across the map around him?
Yeah, we do see a group of Marines, around 12 Marines, sneaking around the bottom side of the map, and they've actually managed to evade these Lurkers. However, there is, as you were mentioning, a Defiler out with Dark Swarm as well as Lurkers, so this is a dangerous time for Terran. I'm not sure if he should be splitting up his army, and he does lose some tanks here to these Lurkers under Dark Swarm. But as you were mentioning, Action is in trouble here. He does not have a lot of workers. He does not have a third base. So if he loses his army that he has right now outside the net of Piano, he really has nothing left to defend his main. And we see this group of 12 Marines that's crossed the
They're
map.
about to jump in, and Action barely getting a swarm off to kind of defend himself, but at the same time, there's already multiple vessels out, and the Defiler that's at Piano's natural is being irradiated, so Action is in a very dire position.
Yeah, we see the science vessels showing their worth now, taking out Lurkers as well as Defilers, proving they're very efficient right now. Action desperately trying to reinforce these Lurkers, which we see outside the net of Piano. So after Action held his own net, he's now rushing across the map to try to reinforce these Lurkers, maybe put a Dark Swarm up. We see a lot of fire bats being added by Piano, however, and GG is called.
And I think that was as a result, even though he was just about to cast a Dark Swarm, there was a tank that had just splash killed 2 Lurkers, and it was going to get another shot off on the other Lurkers. Not to mention there was a group of about 8 to 10 fire bats there ready to do their thing. Even though fire bats are pretty terrible against Lurkers, they can still kill them if stimmed under Dark Swarm if there's few enough Lurkers. So Action, I think, just realizing how behind he was at that point and deciding to call it.
Yeah, some good games played by both players. We saw a very aggressive build from Action, and now we're going to get into Game 2, which is on Whiteout. So it's hosted up, and we're just going to start the game as soon as possible. But it looks like, yeah, Action falling that time to Piano, so now hoping to get his revenge as we start our game on Whiteout.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see this. I personally haven't watched any games on Whiteout, so I'm also just curious to see how this map plays out. It's definitely been used in the like amateur Korean scene a bunch, but it's just not been like it was. I remember vaguely that it was in ASL 7, but I don't remember what other games have used it. But I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. I mean, 3-player maps are always quite interesting because they don't lend themselves to split map scenarios, so curious to see what these 2 players choose to do.
Yeah, I've actually played quite a few games on Whiteout, considering it was in a recent CPL season. Whiteout is interesting because there is those areas that are kind of clouded from vision out in the middle of the map that you need essentially an air unit or a scan to kind of see what's going on in the immediate area surrounding your units, because their vision is quite limited in certain areas on the map.
Okay,
But we
so
see,
they've got like some kind of vision blocking tiles.
yeah, you'll see that as the game goes on. There is
Oh, and this time Piano opting for a little bit of aggression, going with an 8-Rax. So
yeah.
perhaps having some revenge in mind, and Action this time opening definitely with an Overlord first, and it's looking like it's gonna be it's gonna be an 12 no Overpool I think. So that was probably very fortunate for him, because an 8-Rax would have done tons of damage against a hatch first build. This way, though, I think Action actually is in a decent position. It will depend, though, how soon he manages to scout this, because if he is going for a very fast pool in order to just get a fast lair, he may not scout this quite as early as he'd wish. And he's bringing down his drone now to take his natural, and barely doesn't get it in time. I think that he could have definitely gotten that, but instead he's bringing down another drone. But he is going to produce some lings now, and that may or may not be what Piano desired. Piano throwing down a bunker, but I think Piano should be realizing that there must be some kind of ling follow-up behind this. The hatchery goes down nonetheless. Some lings coming out now, and the bunker will be finished, though, before the lings can reinforce. So curious to see what happens here next. The 2 lings deciding to run past the bunker. They're going to try and prevent Marines from reinforcing this bunker.
Yeah,
and
they
pick off one Marine.
Yeah, we see more Marines coming across from that Rax. Actually, the Rax is lifted off now, so it's going to be important for Action to deny any more Marines from entering that bunker, because his hatch is actually so low right now, down to less than 200 HP. So he's forced to go, he denies another Marine from entering the bunker, and now he's trying to focus down that bunker and actually kill the SCB. We're seeing some nice SCB micro.
We see some nice unload and repair micro there, and Action does manage to save his hatchery, which is nice, but the extra drone kill there for Piano, very nice for him. So Action quite low on drones, his hatchery quite damaged. Piano, meanwhile, had gone for a factory behind this, so very curious to see what his follows up is. He had pulled SCVs off gas intermittently, but now he's adding them on again, so I'm wondering if we'll see some kind of 1-1-1 follow-up.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. He's going for a starport here. He does have a vulture out. So now we see the area that the vision is kind of clouded. Those zerglings were not really able to see much, but Action should know where Piano has spawned by now, and he should be able to send a group of lings at least to pressure. However, once he sees this vulture out, he should know his lings are kind of countered and start constructing a sunken colony at his net.
Yeah, and you can see Action must have already assumed something like this was going to happen, because he'd already thrown down the creep colony before even seeing the vulture, but I think he just knew that must have been Piano's spawn, and he'd still not seen a command center, so he knew some kind of mech or tech build was coming.
Action is able to scout this. He had a ling in Piano's base, and now he's going to run by, see the starport blinking with a Wraith on the way. So that's going to provide a lot of key information for Action. Action does have a Spire on the way, around 2/3 done, so he's going to be able to produce Mutalisk and potentially Scourge to deal with those starport units. But we see 3 vultures out on the map coming towards Action's base, so maybe he'll try to do some kind of vulture run by here. And again, we can see the area where the vision is just not good for units, which really affects Terran more than Zerg, I gotta say, because Terran has that ability to use range units, which kind of need that vision compared to
so Action lost one drone to those vultures, and his mining is being denied. Actually, the vulture's even killing a larva, so that's quite nice for them. They're trying to shoot down these eggs, and if they were target firing one of the eggs, they might have even gotten it. But the mutas are about to spawn, and to be honest, the eBay is quite late, so I'm a bit worried for how Action or how Piano's planning on defending this Mutalisk aggression. He is going for Wraith with Cloak, but that Cloak is not going to be done before those first mutas get there. And 2 Scourge trying to intercept this one Wraith. They kind of miss it just in time for Piano's sake, but that could have been a dangerous mini game. Some Zerglings coming in, and these Marines completely uncovered, and all of them go down quite quickly. And now there's 3 Zerglings in Piano's base, and he gets off a full scout, so he knows that Rays are coming with Cloak. He decides to attack the Rays using Scourge to chase them, and Cloak is still not finished, and I don't know if these Rays were going to survive until Cloak finishes. Cloak is about 1 second from finishing, and finishes just now, but Piano is also so busy with so many other things due to the Zerglings having attacked his base. But the Wraith now chasing down the Mutalisk, but still losing all those early Marines, also a big setback for Piano.
Yeah, we can see Piano's really not on that much production right now, just producing Marines off 1 Rax, and relying on these Cloak Wraiths to hold off the Mutalisk. He does lose 1 Cloak Wraith, and it's really hard for him to replenish his Marine count, just producing off 1 Rax for the time being. And with no upgrades on those Marines, they are fairly weak against Zerglings. So kind of a risky play.
And we can see Action, again, has no interest in making this a longer game. He's gone for OV speed, so he has an easy way to deal with the Rays, and he's also still decided not to get a 3rd. He's adding a few more drones, so his economy will be fairly okay, but it looks to me like he's going to try and do some kind of attack with the Mutalisk as soon as he gets his speed OVs over near the Terran. And that could be quite deadly for Piano. Piano only has 2 Rays at the moment. He's only producing off of 1 starport. So if those Rays go down, I think it's a tough spot for Piano, because he only has 2 turrets at each location essentially, and we know what pro gamer muta micro is like. As long as they have more than 5 mutas, 2 turrets are not gonna be any kind of preventative measure.
Yeah, this game will come down to micro here. How will these Wraiths fare against the Mutalisk, and how effectively will these Marines be microed to support those Wraiths? Because, yeah, there's not a lot of units here for Piano, and Action is all in, so he may try to make an attack here. Actually, both these players playing very low on eco this game, I gotta say.
Yeah, and I like Piano's decision for now to stay on 1 base, because there's no way he could also defend a natural base on top of this. The Muta's coming in now and doing some damage and taking down the turret in the main, which hurts him a lot. The Ray's Cloak, but there's 3 Overlords with this army, and Piano not microing his Rays much, just using them on hold position. The Mutalisk's doing a lot of damage here, and the Rays go down, and I think at this point, Piano has no units to defend, and he calls it.
Wow. Very aggressive play, yeah.
Yeah, very aggressive play by Action and Piano, but really like Action's decision to just close out the game. He knew he'd killed so many of Piano's early Marines during that game, and at the same time had scouted that Piano still didn't have a natural, so he knew he didn't have any kind of longer game economic disadvantage, so he could be aggressive, and he could have, even if he had not succeeded at doing significant damage there, I think he would have been fine, because yeah, Piano was still on 1 base. So
yeah, Piano never really able to get his Marine medics to get upgraded, so he was just relying on those wraiths, and after they were picked off by the Mutalists, there was not a lot of counterplay for Piano, unfortunately, in that game. But that will be the last cast for today, so thank you all for tuning in, and yeah, thanks for watching.